there have been plenty of rumblings on the internet. Ain't that what the kids call it nowadays? The internet?
The internet.
The interwebs.
Yes, the web.
Recently about...
I've been surfing that recently.
about whether Giannis Antetokounmpo has surpassed Tim Duncan on the all-time power forward list. Matt and I are going to peruse this topic, but let us know in the comments how you're feeling about this debate. Has Giannis surpassed Tim Duncan? Drop a like, make sure you subscribe, and let us know at the end whether you're Team Scott or your Team Matt. But man, I'll let you go first, man. Has Giannis done enough to surpass Tim Duncan?
I think he might have. I mean, let's look at it this way. He's already got 2 league MVPs. He's led his team to an NBA championship, and then he took over for that championship and was able to get them the win and ended on such a historic way with the 50-piece. Shout out Chick-fil-A too, because that was hilarious. He's good at that too.
Yeah.
But he was able to do that, and then I think you look at how he's likely might win a third MVP, so he tied Tim Duncan. And I think the other thing that stands out to me is that Giannis, nobody expected this out of Giannis. And I think that has to count for something, because you go in, and Tim Duncan was the first overall pick.
Sure was.
He had a great college career.
Sure did.
And then he went into a team that already really was very talented. The reason that they were able to get the first pick was because David Robinson had been hurt for the entire season previous. And so you add him to a team that was already ready-made to go to the finals. They have success. Giannis was a bit more of a, build up from the bottom sort of a situation.
Yes,
Great story in that sense.
Project, so to speak.
Yeah, and he's been able to be the best player in the world. I think everybody can agree on that right now. It's definitely a talking point. And so I think Giannis has just done it in that sense, and it's exciting to see him come this way. And if you look at how his trajectory is going, I think he could definitely and has surpassed Tim Duncan, and I love Tim Duncan.
You almost got it right. He definitely could. He probably one day will, but at this point, I don't think there's really a legitimate argument for Giannis surpassing Tim Duncan on any all-time list. Obviously, they're both top 75 players of all time, made the 75 anniversary team, so that can't be taken away from either of them. But you mentioned a little bit. Tim Duncan was the first overall pick in the NBA draft. He also went on that first year to win Rookie of the Year and become an All-Star his first season in the NBA. That was his first of 15 All-Star appearances out of his 19-year career. I'm not going to go the rings route because that would be too easy and that would be too Jordan-like of me to do something like that and make that type of argument. But again, I mentioned it. Tim Duncan was dominant from the day he stepped into the NBA. It took Giannis a good full 4 seasons to be even an all-star, let alone one of the best players in the NBA. And that's not necessarily a knock on him. But again, we're just looking at the full totality of both of these guys' career up to this point. And I mentioned it, 19 years of being, and again, it's not 19 years in the last, handful, he was, just a guy. This is somebody who won titles in the twilight of his career, was still a very important piece on Spurs team that, as we've talked about here recently, beat the LeBron James Heatles in the NBA Finals. Tim Duncan was as important as anybody in that Finals victory. So again, 15-time All-Star, 15-time all-defensive player. And that's where Giannis gets the nod over a lot of all-time greats, because Giannis, as we know, is one of the best defenders in NBA history.
Absolutely.
But the same can be said for Tim Duncan. So in terms of longevity, what Tim Duncan was able to do on both ends of the floor for nearly 2 decades just makes him one of the best NBA players ever. Certainly probably the greatest power forward ever, next to maybe a Dirk Nowitzki, maybe, some other guys who kind of...
I think Giannis is up there.
He certainly is. Yeah. He certainly is up there, but not yet. Giannis has not surpassed him just yet. But let us know in the comments. Has Giannis done enough in your eyes to surpass that boy Tim Duncan, the big fundamental? I don't think so. If you agree with me, comment Team Scott below. If you agree with this man right here,
freak.
Comment Team Matt. We'll catch you next time.
Give them both their flowers.
Amazing
careers. Amazing players.
Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out our other videos, and don't forget to smack that subscribe button down below while you're at it. Also, for more great and original content, head right over to bvmsports.com.